I don't know Faithil. I honestly don't. I will do research on Faithil today. Absolutely. So Faithil, that is.
You need a drink. You don't know who Faithil is.
I'm sure, but which one should I'll have the least nasty one.
Oh, so you took it from me.
This is not happening. It's my show. You're watching The Big Scope, India's first sports cable network, and welcome to another edition of The Boss Game. And today on the show, I've got with me the lovely Robin Matlock, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of VMware. Ma'am, lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely.
I think.
Okay, she's already saying I think, oh my god. So, as you guys have got used to, this is what I call Question Baba, where we have all questions related to about our life, about the kind of stuff VMware does and has been doing so tremendously well over the years. So, let's pick one of the questions.
Okay.
So this should be fun.
I guess.
This sounds like an... Okay, I really wanted to ask you, so a lot of our viewers are not only CIOs and CTOs and CEOs, but a lot of the viewers are also young people who look at folks like you, like, I want to become like you, I want to be like you in 5 or 10 years. So I really want to start on a very simple note. How do you explain cloud computing to a 10-year-old?
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, a 10-year-old, cloud to them is just computing. They don't know the difference, right?
That's so important to say.
They don't think about computing as some big, huge desktop machine that sits in their office or in their mom and dad's office. They think about their iPhone or their iPad. It's always connected. So in a lot of ways, I think the 10-year-old needs to explain it to their 70-year-old grandparent more than the other way around. Because cloud computing is just how they get access to their games, to their services, to everything.
Okay, how lovely. Let me pick up the next tip from here.
Okay.
This sounds like an essay. Oh God. Okay. I really want to ask you, how do you make... you've been in so many different types of conferences across the world, whether it's tech or non-tech. How do you make the technology industry a more level playing field, ma'am? Like, so that we have more women on forums talking about, cloud, talking about virtualization over the years. We look up to people like you. So how do we make this more of a playing field, ma'am? From the college level, not only from the industry, from the college, from the engineering colleges level, from the schools. How do we make that more, ma'am?
Well, that's a big question. So you're not just talking about conferences, you're just talking about the tech industry in general.
Exactly, ma'am.
Well, and we know the reality is that it's not a level playing field. We know the data tells us that, women still don't represent a balanced ratio of the jobs in tech. We know that women aren't paid dollar for dollar or whatever your currency is of choice, fair. So we have work to do. I think the bottom line is we all need to acknowledge that we don't have a level playing field and we have to work at it. And we've got to affect change. So some things that we do, first of all, we look internally at our own company. So what are the things we're doing at VMware to drive a level playing field? And then in a conference like something like this where we're running conferences, we work hard to show diversity and inclusion and have a representation from all different types of people and make sure that we are showcasing the variety that is more symbolic of our population.
How lovely.
So those are a couple ideas.
How lovely.
Small one.
It is a small one, but it's about you. I was going through your LinkedIn profile, ma'am. So you did a BA in music, right? If I'm not wrong. And I've seen your career graph. It's really interesting. Ma'am, you've done a BA in music. Then you landed in a lot of cybersecurity companies and then cloud virtualization.
Yes.
How do you take your next step, ma'am? On what basis do you decide this is the next big thing? Let me enter this. From music to virtualization, how have you decided what to do next, ma'am?
Well, that is probably a longer question than we have time for today. I do have a bachelor in music, but in all honesty, I never intended to be a professional musician. It was more a means to pay for my education, so I started in business very young. In terms of next step, first of all, I'm positioned in one of the greatest software companies in the world. And I'm not working too hard on figuring out what happens beyond VMware. I'm all very committed to helping VMware really have the impact that it can on the market and our customers.
I know India is an important market for folks like you, but as of now, what different are you doing in India this year? If I look at this, I know what has happened in the last financial, but this year, if I can ask you that one couple of things that you're targeting specifically, for the Indian market, because the customers are more or less a little different from other geographies. What are you doing different for the Indian market now?
Well, first of all, we have two dimensions to our focus here in India. One is just our own investment in VMware. And, we have almost 25% of our employee population are based here in India. So we have huge development investments going on here in India. The talent is unbelievable in India. So critical, strategic development happens right here in India. Then, of course, we have go-to-market, and we have a wide breadth of customer engagements, and that's where you're talking about New Delhi and all these other places. And I think the Indian customer base is very sophisticated, and it spans very mature, traditional, large businesses, and it also spans startups and very innovative and real breakthrough kind of technology companies and everything in between. So we're working with a wide variety of these companies, loving working with them. Our relationships go deep, and we're going to continue to invest in the region.
Fair enough. So, from music to security to cloud computing to massive, collaboration with other industry vendors, that was Robin Matlock. Very 5-8 minutes of time. But moving on to the other segment where I have more questions for her, where I have personally promised if she doesn't answer my questions, we will give her bitter gourd juice, apple cider juice with water, and there's something else on the show. I don't know what this is. This is a rapid fire
drink. Okay, good.
And she's promised me she won't have any of those drinks because she will answer all the questions.
That's my goal.
That's your goal. So see you on the other side. So as I promised, she's still here, and she's promised to do the rapid fire with the big scope. And ma'am, should we start with rapid fire?
I guess so. Here we go.
Okay, there you go. The rapid fire is Robin from VMware. What is the most overrated, and you've spent so many years in the enterprise industry, ma'am. What is the most overrated term in the enterprise IT industry?
Agility.
Okay, the next way. This is the first time in India. I'll ask you the quiz, but this is not the first time. So, okay, one thing about India you would like to change?
I would like to change. I'd like to cool it down about 10-20 degrees.
Yes, that can happen. And we've done the AC out of the room, so we'll move on. Okay. What is the dumbest thing somebody has ever asked you on the stage at an event?
On the stage at an event. Look at the audience. Can you look at the audience? Do you know where the audience is?
Are you serious?
Yes, I know where the audience is. I think I can figure that out.
Are you see somebody else? Okay, whoever that person, lady, I don't know, no hard feelings, but who asks these kinds of questions on the stage? Okay. If you were to become a pop star for a day or a rock star for a day, ma'am, who would you want to be?
Oh, that is the worst question for me because I am not into pop culture at all. So I guess I would have to go to my roots, which would be country. Because I am a country girl from Arizona, born in Texas. So maybe like Faith Hill. How's that?
I don't know Faith Hill. I honestly don't. I will do research on Faith Hill today. Absolutely. So Faith Hill, that is.
You need a drink. You don't know who Faith Hill is.
I'm sure, but which one? I'll have the least nasty one.
Oh, see, you took it from me.
This is not happening. It's my show. She's making me do this. Okay. Well, look at the next question. If men could improve one thing, what would that be? If we men could improve one thing, what would that be? Or anybody, whether it's tech world or generally.
I would say listen. Listen, really listen.
That is the most important advice you'll ever hear in your life. You have to listen. You can't make conversations otherwise to talk.
Deeply listen.
Absolutely. Okay, the next one. Oh shit. Don't kill me for asking you this. What would you say or react to a person in a board meeting whom you realize just thinks bad?
I would absolutely ignore it.
Okay, she wants to ignore it. Okay.
In a board meeting, like you're going to tell your board member that they have body odor? Zip, 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 zip. Not a word.
Politically correct. Okay, whose LinkedIn profile do you envy?
Oh, goodness. Many people. Many.
One that comes to your mind, man.
Beth Comstock.
Oh, how lovely. The most Okay, the most embarrassing picture of yours on your mobile phone.
Oh, my toes.
Okay.
There's some pictures of my toes on my phone. I admit it. They're there.
Okay, that's how mobile phones are supposed to do. Okay, the last one, ma'am. The last dream that you saw, and tell me that in detail.
The last dream that I had.
Or maybe you must have had a 16-hour flight coming over here, 16, 17-hour flight. The last
But
dream.
you never get into REMs in those airplanes.
Yes, correct.
I had a dream, actually, it's been here, so either last night or the night before, and I don't remember much of it, but I was kind of out in the woods.
Okay.
And I remember there was an older couple coming out of a cabin, and they were very skinny. I don't know why they were so thin. I remember thinking, wow, they're really thin. Kind of made me feel not very thin, and I needed them to help me to find the path, and they walked in front of me, and I just remember looking, going, wow, they're really thin.
She had a dream about 10 people. That's how
In the
dreams
woods,
are.
in the cabin. I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
Okay. The last one, ma'am. What would you never put on the cloud?
What would I never put on the cloud? I would never put a car on the cloud. I would never put a horse on the cloud. Do you mean what kind of application?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you mean? Oh, you mean what kind of workload? Oh, I missed that.
So horse is the name of a new workload that you don't want to put on the
Yeah,
cloud.
exactly. I think that most workloads will, in somebody's business, will land on the cloud. Not in everybody's business. I actually don't think there will be a workload that won't, in somebody's business, end up being a cloud-based workload.
How lovely. Ma'am, thank you so much for those lovely answers. And before we end the show, you could just take a half sip. Little bit. Okay. Which one do you want to do? This is bitter gourd. This is apple cigar. All diluted though. But,
I have no idea what that means.
I'll take it with you.
Okay.
Cheers.
Ready? Cheers. Sir.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
Oh!
That's called juice? This juice is supposed to be
I used another word before the juice. A nasty tasting juice.
with a cigarette like stomped in it.
No, it doesn't taste like a cigarette.
It needs, yeah.
But it's good for health. So
Okay,
that
I'm sure it has some positive purpose.
yes, it is. But ma'am, thank you so
Very
much
nice.
for talking.
You bet.
So that was Robin Matlock, who's the Chief Marketing Officer for VMware. Those are the most lovely answers I've ever heard. From doing music to cybersecurity to virtualization to cloud to putting a horse on the cloud, and horse is not an application. Until next time I get another leader, another lovely lady like her on the show, I am Aritra, and keep watching The Boss Game.